intravenous caffeine, is it the only thing that is like limiting us from living a productive life, or is it a dangerous trust? Welcome back to Not So Complicated. We will talk about intravenous caffeine today. So caffeine is a common stimulant, right? But what happens if you inject it directly into your veins? Let's debunk everything. So how IV caffeine works? Actually, we have to understand the basics of it. IV caffeine hits the brain in seconds, unlike 30 to 60 minutes of for oral intake, because it bypasses digestive system, the absorption thing, the digestion thing in our gastrointestinal system. So that is why it hits the brain in seconds, right? And it blocks adenosine receptors actually, and the blockage of these adenosine receptors will lead to boosting of dopamine, causing euphoria, like mild high like reaction, like high feeling. And then it also spikes heart rate via norepinephrine. So can you get addicted to the IV caffeine? Yes, you can very much quietly get affected, addicted, because it is like every other drugs, and IV delivery amplifies caffeine's dopamine effect, creating a reward loop. There is a reward loop in our brain, right? So also this is obviously causing faster onset that will lead to increased psychological dependence than your oral uses. And then 10 to 20% of caffeine users develop dependence obviously, and IV could worsen this actually. And this is the brain reward pathway. Craving increases every time you use IV caffeine, because like those should be increased than your previous uses, because the brain reward pathway craves for more every time you use IV caffeine. And there are certainly deadly risks and lethality of this, and also ethical considerations, right? So lethal dose of IV caffeine is 10 to 20 grams. Actually this is equivalent to 100 to 200 cups of normal usual cup of coffee that you use, right? And the lethal dose is lower with IV due to rapid delivery, right? And then in 500 mg of IV caffeine use, you will feel arrhythmias, that is heart palpitations, irregular heart rhythm, right? And in 2000 mg plus of IV caffeine, you get affected with seizures, cardiac arrest, brain seizures, obviously, right? And this actually happened in one of the 2010 medical error cases, where 1000 mg IV caused severe heart issues. So after knowing this all, what you know is that you have to stick to your regular normal coffee, right? So IV caffeine gives a fast rush but risks addiction and death. That is why it is safer to enjoy your caffeine in the usual way. So what's your caffeine habit like? Comment down and subscribe for more. Thank you for staying with me. This is Not So Complicated.